The morning after the tragedy at the Saimori estate, Mio woke up under the care of Kyoka Kudo. She asks Kyoko if everyone in the Saimori escaped safely. He gently assured her that everyone survived, but is angered as Mio is concerned about them after they torture her. Yuri is glad Mio is feeling alright. Kyoka broke the news that the Saimori estate had burned to the ground, and Mio requests him to take her to see the house one last time. Standing before the charred remains of her childhood home, Mio was overcome with sorrow. Kyoka explained that while the Saimori family was ruined, the true mastermind behind the tragedy was the Tatsuishi family, and they would soon answer to the Kudos for their actions. He added that her father and stepmother had been exiled to their countryside home, while her spoiled sister, Kaya, had been placed as a servant in a notoriously strict household to learn humility. Sifting through her own grief elsewhere, Kaya wept over a family portrait. When Koji Tatsuishi noted how little she had packed for her departure, she threw a characteristic tantrum. Koji tried to comfort her, promising that they could eventually rebuild the Saimori legacy together. But a heartbroken Kaya dismissed him, sobbing bitterly at her reflection in the glass. Back at the ruins, Mio discovered the burned remnants of the cherry blossom tree her mother had planted upon her marriage, the tree from which Mio had always felt her mother's lingering spirit. Overcome, she touches the tree, and it crumbles down. Kyoko apologized for his recklessness during the rescue, but Mio softly reassured him that he did what was necessary for the greater good. With the Saimori family scattered, Kyoko proposed that they formalize their marriage without further delay. When Mio anxiously asked if his father would approve, fearing he had intended for Kyoko to marry the more prestigious Kaya, Kyoko firmly shut down her doubts, stating that the decision was his alone to make. On their way back, they crossed paths with Koji. After thanking Kyoko, Koji asked to speak with Mio privately. At their usual meeting spot, Koji revealed he was leaving town to undergo rigorous training, having realized how lacking his spiritual skills were. He then asked Mio about a past apology he had made. When a confused Mio admitted she didn't remember it, Koji was quietly hurt but smiled it off, viewing it as a chance for a truly fresh start. Now officially engaged, Mio requested permission to resume her training to become a proper lady of the house. When Kyoko teased her for her overly formal bowing, she blushed, prompting him to playfully check if she had a fever. He then promised to arrange for a private tutor. The next day, Kyoko's older sister, Hazuki Kudo, arrived as the new instructor. Energetic and unbothered by Kyoko's stoic demeanor, Hazuki immediately bonded with Mio and Yuri. She reprimanded her brother for never mentioning he had a sister, before eagerly taking Mio under her wing. Hazuki's lessons began in the garden. When Mio timidly confessed she didn't know the names of the flowers, Hazuki pointed to a tiny blue blossom and tells her that every flower, no matter how small, has a name and its own unique beauty. Just like humans, every time a flower blooms, it gives its absolute best to the world. Hazuki tells Mio that she has taken etiquette lessons for many years and she would be able to teach her the basics well. Mio thanks her and tells her that it is an honor to learn from her. Hazuki gets excited and hugs her. Kyoko is standing outside the door listening to everything, and Yuri sees this and chuckles. Hazuki asks Kyoko to take Mio home, as she would benefit better there, but Kyoko firmly refuses. Hazuki tells him he would feel lonely if she took Mio with her. Hazuki tells Mio that they should set a goal and work towards it. She mentions a party that Kyoko and herself have been invited to, but Mio could join. Mio panics hearing the word party, but Kyoko tells her that she can study theory all she wants, but it will only be useful if practiced. Mio agrees, and Hazuki tells her she will devise a plan and leaves for the day. That night, the newfound peace was shattered. Kyoko awoke abruptly, sensing a strange spiritual presence within the house. Rushing to Mio's room, he found her trapped in a violent nightmare. Seeing that the physical barriers of the house were untouched, a chilling realization struck him. This was the work of the Yusuba clan's psychological gifts. Simultaneously, in a dark, hidden location, sinister rituals were underway. Ancient talismans shattered and a sealed stone split open, unleashing skeletal aberrations with glowing red eyes into the world. The next morning, Kyoko's military superior arrived with urgent news. While a meeting was being called regarding the fallout of the Tatsuishi family, a far more dangerous crisis had emerged. Someone had deliberately unsealed the forbidden grave. As Kyoko grappled with the impending danger to the empire, a mysterious figure smiled in the shadows and says the time had come, and he is coming for Mio. The next day, Kyoka explains the horrific nature of the grave, a sacred, heavily fortified burial ground meant to contain the vengeful spirits of deceased gift users. If the seal were broken, the entire imperial capital would be at risk. As Kyoka and his military colleague Ukaito debate the culprit's motives, Kyoka places his faith in Prince Takehito, the emperor's son, whose prophetic visions make him the ultimate authority on such mystical threats. On the way to the palace, they encounter Kazushi Tatsuishi, wearing flamboyant formal attire. When Kyoka questions his wardrobe choice, Kazushi smoothly counters that, as a civilian, he answers only to the emperor's law, not military dress codes. During their audience, Kazushi introduces himself as the newly appointed head of the disgraced Tatsuishi clan. He formally apologizes to Prince Takehito and vows to work alongside Kyoka to redeem his family's tarnished name. While the prince grants his forgiveness, a tense Ukaito presses for details regarding the grave. Suddenly, Takehito is struck by a violent prophetic vision and tells them that a grave catastrophe is descending upon us, and they all have to be careful. If they remain unprepared, countless lives will be lost in the coming storm. Kyoko believes that the threat is already on its way to the imperial capital. Takehito tells them they will be informed if he sees any more visions. As the meeting adjourns, Takehito pulls Kyoko aside. The prince cryptically warns him that while his engagement to Mio is fascinating, a dark and difficult road lies ahead for them both. When Kyoko presses to know if Mio was part of the vision, the prince remains ominously silent. Kyoko tells him that he will be mindful of things and leaves. Determined to stand proudly by Kyoko's side, Mio throws herself into her high society training under Hazuki's enthusiastic tutelage. Recognizing Mio's complete isolation from the social world, Hazuki adopts a holistic approach to her lessons. She shares embarrassing childhood stories about Kyoka to coax a genuine, natural laugh from Mio. Teaching her how to project warmth, Mio learns to navigate the restrictive posture required for Western dresses, which differs entirely from the familiar movements of a traditional kimono. Hazuki guides her through the intricate rules of fine dining, from the proper handling of silverware to formal table manners. Struck by Hazuki's elegance, Mio's affection for her grows daily. Meanwhile, Kyoka is deeply distracted at work. He reviews confidential records on his father-in-law's first wife, Sumi, trying to find her connection to the elusive Usuba clan, a bloodline feared among magic users for their terrifying mental capabilities, memory manipulation, telepathy, and dream invasion. Kyoko wonders if Mio is linked to someone from the Usuba family, as she has consistent nightmares. Kyoko leaves work early and promises his colleague he will be back soon. Mio thanks Hazuki for all the help, and Hazuki is more than happy to help her. She requests Mio not to be formal and asks her if she doesn't mind calling her sister and being able to rely on her for anything. She leaves for the day. Mio wants to be part of Kudo's family, but is left wondering if she knows what family means. Kyoka meets with his investigator, Iwashimitsu, who reveals that all historical records of the Usuba family have been systematically erased. The only surviving name in any archive is Sumi Usuba. Recognizing that a family's existence cannot be totally wiped from history, Kyoka orders a covert, citywide search for any trace of Sumi's past, convinced that Mio's chronic nightmares are tied to her mother's bloodline. Mio had come a long way in learning how to be a lady. Hazuki suggests they go to town and test it out, but asks Mio to tell her if she was ever stressed or felt the training was too much. Hazuki is angered as Kyoko had chosen work over Mio, but Mio tells her that he was working hard at his job and she was doing the same with her. The supernatural and political plots collide when Arata, a slick representative from the ministry, visits Kyoka. Arata reports that a group of unconscious individuals was discovered near the breached grave, though their motives remain a mystery. When Kyoka questions why the ministry is sharing intelligence with the military, Arata reveals he is a specialized negotiator brought in due to a severe staffing shortage. Before leaving, Arata notes his envy of Kyoka's engagement, remarking how difficult it is to find someone to settle down with. Kyoka agrees to assist the ministry with the investigation. Meanwhile, Kazushi attempts to break a powerful, overwhelming curse afflicting one of the survivors brought in by Ukaito. The sheer malice of the curse pushes the Kazushi's spiritual stamina to its absolute limit. Kyoka leads his men to the perimeter of the grave, finding the eerie silence deeply unsettling. Suddenly, they are ambushed by a horde of skeletal aberrations. Kyoka unleashes a devastating torrent of supernatural fire to hold the monsters at bay. Simultaneously, miles away, Mio is pulled into a horrific nightmare. She finds herself drowning in a dark, watery abyss as skeletal hands drag her under. She awakens in the real world, sobbing and gasping for air. In the shadows, Arata stands by a cherry blossom tree, whispering that the time for the awakening has finally arrived. Mio is taken to town for training. Yuri and Hazuki are with her. Hazuki takes Mio back home as she is looking pale. On the way back, Mio faints, but someone holds her and she assumes it's Kyoko. She opens her eyes to see Arata. Holding her tightly in his arms, Arata gazes down at her fainting form and whispers, "My dear Mio." For the next episode, check the link in the description. Thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel.